Okay, you know who I'm talking about, right? That one friend, that family member. Hey, maybe it's you. Their phone is sitting right there. You know it's getting your texts and calls, but not a peep. It is always on silent. So, yeah, let's get into it. What is the real story behind the silent phone? I mean, it's a question we've all asked ourselves, probably while staring at our own screen with just a little bit of frustration. You send a text, you call, you wait, and just crickets. It seriously feels like you're sending messages into a black hole. So, what is going on? And look, our minds immediately jump to the easy conclusions, don't they? We think, wow, how rude. Or maybe they're just a total mess, so disorganized. And then there's the one that kind of stings, they're just straight up ignoring me. But what if we're looking at this all wrong? What if those first assumptions are just completely off base? So here's the big idea, the pivot. Let's just try to reframe this entire thing for a second. What if that silence has absolutely nothing to do with you? What if it's not a message they're sending out, but a shield they're putting up? A form of self-defense against the absolute chaos of our digital lives. This is where you see this huge gap between how it looks and what's really happening. What we see as them ignoring our texts is actually them protecting their focus. What feels like they're missing our calls on purpose, well, that's often them managing the very real anxiety that comes from being on call 24/7. And that thing we call being unresponsive, for them, that's about choosing and valuing their own peace of mind. All right, so let's break this down. The first big piece of the puzzle is all about protecting their mental space. You can think of it like they're in an active battle against something called digital illusions. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Every single ping, every buzz, every little banner that pops up on your screen, it's all designed to create this feeling, this illusion that something is super urgent and needs your attention right now. But let's be honest, most of the time, it's not. The people who live on silent mode, they're making a conscious choice to just say no thanks to that fake urgency. They're taking back control and deciding for themselves what's actually worth their attention. So that leads us to the second point. And honestly, this one goes even deeper because it's not just about blocking out the noise from the outside world. It's really about what's happening on the inside. It all comes down to where these people get their sense of worth, their validation. Okay, so there's this really fascinating psychological term for this. It's called an internal locus of evaluation. I know, it's a bit of a mouthful, but what it means is actually pretty simple. Someone with a strong one of these, they don't need the like, they don't need the instant text back. They don't need the notification to feel secure or valued. Their sense of what's right and what's important comes from their own internal compass, not from the random chatter of the digital world. And this really just gets to the heart of it all, doesn't it? When you're not hooked on that constant little drip feed of external approval that notifications are designed to give you, well, it gets a whole lot easier to just switch them off. That silence isn't an empty void. It's actually full of self-reliance. Which brings us to our third, and maybe the most fundamental reason of all. This is a deliberate choice about what actually matters in life. It's kind of like they're rewriting the rules for what it means to be successful or productive in this day and age. Peace over performance. Let that sink in for a second. This has nothing to do with being lazy or not getting things done. Not at all. It's about a massive, radical shift in your values. Adopting a system where your own mental peace, your internal state of calm, is the number one goal. That's the real prize. So what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, for one, it means you value your own mental calm way more than being constantly connected. It also means you're actively pushing back against that crazy societal pressure to be available like 24/7. And at the end of the day, it's about playing the long game, choosing your long-term well-being over the tiny, short-term buzz of firing back an instant reply. And here's the thing. This isn't just some random personality quirk or a lifestyle choice. This stuff is real. Psychology actually has formal names for this kind of intentional, protective behavior. Yeah, when you see it this way, it stops being a habit and becomes a full-on strategy. So one term they use is social vigilance. Sounds pretty intense, right? It just means you're skillfully and actively managing all the social information being thrown at you. Another one, and I love this one, is cognitive offloading. This is basically the genius move of letting your phone carry the burden of all those messages and demands so that your brain doesn't have to. You're literally freeing up your own mental hard drive to focus on things that actually matter. So, when you put it all together, the picture changes completely, doesn't it? That silent phone isn't a sign of someone being rude or disorganized. It's a fortress, a carefully constructed fortress of focus, designed brick by brick to protect their attention, their peace, and their own internal compass from the non-stop siege of the digital world. And that really just leaves us with one final question. A question for you. Whether your phone is on silent this very second or it's buzzing away in your pocket, just take a moment and ask yourself, what is your silent mode protecting? And maybe even more importantly, what do you need it to start protecting?